The little girl's voice was barely louder than the rain, but the words cut deeper than any bullet he had ever faced in war. "Daddy, please help her." Mark Hale froze in the doorway, his weathered hands gripping a grocery bag as it slipped to the floor. He had survived 30 years as a Navy SEAL, escaped ambushes in deserts and jungles, and buried more friends than he could count. But nothing, prepared him for the fear in his daughter's eyes as she clung to his leg, pointing back toward the alley behind their apartment. He followed her trembling finger and saw a woman slumped against a brick wall, blood on her lip, fear in her eyes, and 3 men laughing as if her pain was entertainment. In that moment, the war he thought he had left behind came rushing back. Mark didn't know that by sunrise those 3 men would wish they had never been born. He didn't know that by the next day, a Navy Admiral would stand at his door. And he certainly didn't know that his daughter's whispered plea would change all of their lives forever. Mark Hale had built his post-military life around silence. Silence was safe. Silence didn't bring memories back. He worked nights as a dock supervisor, kept his head down, and raised his daughter Lily alone after her mother passed away. Lily was 8, bright, kind, and too brave for a world that didn't deserve her. Mark tried to shield her from the darkness, but darkness has a way of finding the innocent. That night rain soaked the streets, blurring the city into shadows. Mark had taken Lily to the corner store for milk and bread. It should have been ordinary. Ordinary was all he wanted. As they walked home, Lily slowed, her grip tightening on his hand. She heard something first, soft crying, then a sharp laugh. Before Mark could stop her, Lily slipped from his side and ran back a few steps. He followed, annoyed at first, then alert. That's when he saw it. 3 men, drunk or cruel or both, blocking a woman's escape. One held her wrist too tight. Another mocked her accent. The third watched the street like a predator. Mark stepped forward calmly. Calmly was how he survived. "That's enough," he said, his voice low, controlled. The men turned, sizing him up, older, broad-shouldered, gray at the temples. They smirked. One shoved him. That was the mistake. Mark moved without thought. Years of training woke up like a beast unchained. In seconds, the alley became chaos. One man hit the ground gasping, his knee destroyed. Another flew backward, stunned by a single, precise strike. The third pulled a knife. Mark disarmed him so fast it felt unreal. The blade clattered to the ground. The man followed, unconscious before he hit the wall. It was over in less than 20 seconds. Mark turned to Lily, who stood frozen, eyes wide. He knelt, pulling her into his arms, whispering that it was okay, that she was safe. The woman sobbed, thanking him over and over. Mark called the police anonymously, then walked home with Lily in silence. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She climbed into his bed and whispered, "Daddy, you scared them." Mark stared at the ceiling. "I scared myself too, sweetheart." He didn't know the alley had cameras. He didn't know one of those men had connections. And he didn't know that someone very powerful had already seen the footage. The knock came the next morning, sharp and deliberate. Mark opened the door expecting trouble. What he saw instead made his breath catch. A Navy Admiral stood on his doorstep, uniform crisp, eyes filled with recognition and respect. "Master Chief Mark Hale," the Admiral said softly. "May I come in?" Mark hadn't heard that rank spoken aloud in 10 years. Lily peeked from behind the couch, clutching her stuffed bear. The Admiral noticed her and smiled gently. "I saw the footage," the Admiral continued once seated. 3 men hospitalized. 1 woman alive because of you. And a little girl brave enough to ask her father for help. Mark braced himself for consequences. Instead, the Admiral stood. "The Navy never forgot you. And neither did I." It turned out the men had been part of a larger criminal ring. Mark's actions shattered more than bones. They exposed something ugly. The Admiral wasn't there to punish him. He was there to protect him. That afternoon, charges were filed against the attackers. Witnesses came forward. The woman Mark saved testified. Lily watched from the hallway as her father stood tall again, not as a weapon, but as a shield. Later that night, Lily climbed into his lap. "Daddy," she said, "are you a hero?" Mark smiled sadly. "No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who listens when people ask for help." The Admiral left before sunset, pausing at the door. "You remind us what strength is really for," he said. As the door closed, Mark realized something had changed. The war inside him had quieted. Not because of violence, but because of purpose. Lily fell asleep that night smiling, knowing her father would always come when she whispered those words. And Mark Hale finally understood that the bravest battles aren't fought for medals or orders, but for the small voice that says, "Daddy, please help her."